And now it's the part of the show that I love. It's the Daily Three. Why? Because I wore number 3 in college. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes each. Sam's going to try to throw some stuff out that might stump me. Doesn't ever work. Take it away, Sam.
Unlikely that I'll stump you. Here's my Vikings question of the day. We're trying to hit on all these Vikings talkers before training camp. I want to ask you about the wide receiver coach. You know the importance of a wide receiver coach. Keenan McCardell is an NFL legend, and he was the only assistant to come back to the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff from last year. What is the importance of having McCardell back on this staff for Jefferson, Thielen, and the rest of the guys?
Well, I mean, the good thing about social media is you don't have to ask questions. Like GMs back in the day, my guess is they had to do research. They had to ask around. You can see social media. So in social media, of course, and in the media, but mainly social media, Justin Jefferson, talked about Keenan McCardell and how, how much he's helped him grow, and how that, Adam Thielen talked about Keenan McCardell and how the room was just different and how his energy was just different from the past. And KJ Osborne talked about how Keenan McCardell helped him grow, because everybody had written KJ Osborne off after some of the mistakes. Keenan McCardell comes in. KJ Osborne is like a solid number 3, where you got to give them a little bit of money maybe in a year or two. And so I think, when you're Kevin O'Connell and you're like, look, the most important thing in my offense, if we're going to be like the Rams, is my receivers coach. And when you look at the guys out on the street, now, one, if he could have pulled maybe the Rams guy to come with him, maybe. But, leaving LA after you just won a Super Bowl and you have Cooper Kupp, I don't know too many coaches that would just walk away from that unless there's a promotion involved. So when you look at Keenan McCardell, Super Bowl champion, played the position for a long time. It just made sense. It was no surprise to me that they kept him. And the other reason behind that too, now when you look at the conversation, everybody saying like guys working together, and I want this to be a family atmosphere. I want this to be an open door. Like Keenan McCardell and Justin Jefferson, those guys all get along. Like it's just like a cool vibe. And I remember losing my receivers coach my sophomore or my junior year, which was my best year. I got a new coach in, and not to say I fell off. It just wasn't the same.
Sounds like the receivers really stood on the table to get McCardell back. Like they went to the front office and they said, hey, this guy's really important to us. And I get it. I mean, no offense to the receivers coaches they had before, but Andrew Janocko was a college quarterback. Drew Petzing, I don't think he even played college football. Like they didn't have guys that had been there before. And Keenan McCardell has, and I can see where there'd be a big difference to them in the way that he coaches and the way that he can teach from his own experience. That's super valuable. So I totally get it. Byron Buxton, AL Player of the Week last week, 5 home runs. And this is like a couple weeks removed from when he was going 0 for 30. He was ice cold. He was below 200. 5 homers last week. Another home run last night. So the Twins win 3-2. Ron, how much better are the Twins when Byron Buxton's bat is working?
Yeah, I mean, it's like asking how good are the Vikings when Justin Jefferson's healthy. It's one of those pieces of the puzzle they need. The question answers it itself, like the fact that he was Player of the Week. Last year the whole talk was keep Byron Buxton in a bubble. Like he gets hurt on the dumbest things, and it happened earlier this year. Like we came up lame on I think like a slide or something. Everybody's like, oh, here we go again. Season's over. But he's found a way. And then there was the whole play count, not pitch count, but play count. Like how many innings are we going to give him? Are we going to rest him? Are we going to get him going? Are we going to rest him and play him later? And Byron Buxton's bat, it's one of those things, and not to toot my own daughter's horn, but it's one of those things like when she plays and she doesn't play. Like she is a girl that's going to get a home run, triple, double every single time. She rarely strikes out. She always puts the ball in play. She might get thrown out, but she rarely strikes out unless you give her like a nasty changeup. Other than that, that's where I noticed that with her team. Like when Byron Buxton's out there, it's the same feeling. It's like, you know what? We're 1 run away. Byron Buxton's here. We have Carrera. We have good fielders. We have a pitching staff that's, getting it done. But Buxton is a guy that gives them hope. And I'm not going to say he's like Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a different monster, but it's the same feeling. When you have a guy coming up to bat that possibly can put the ball into play and make something happen, it's contagious. It catches on. Everybody starts to be like, oh man, we can do this. And so I think that's what Buxton does for this team.
Yeah, it's just a different offense when he's clicking. I mean, then you've got Arise, who's the top hitter in the league. You've got Buxton, who's one of the top power guys, and Correa, who's just solid. He's a 300 hitter. That's a 1-2-3 punch right there, as they showed against the Yankees last week when they all went back to back to back home runs. Yeah. Last question for you of the Daily 3. Haven't talked a lot of Lynx this year, and part of the reason is because they've been struggling mightily. They are actually 3-11. That is the worst record in the WNBA, Ron. Is their playoff streak going to end this season?
I hate to say yes, but I'm going to say yes with an exception. If they can find a way to go 18-16, and this is the reason why they made the playoffs before, and they were 18-16 in 2019. I think that was the year. Because I remember looking at that like, oh, that's like a baseball record. But if they can go 18-16 and they can somehow get back to 500, they can make the playoffs. If not, like if in the next, let's say 10 games, if they can't find a way to win like 8 out of the 10, like they're in trouble. No, you know what? I'm not going to make it that high. I'm going to say 7 out of 10 because 6 out of 10, that's just, 7 out of the 10, 70%. You got to get a C average. They have a chance. But if they fall and go 50-50 the rest of the way, they're out of it because that's kind of the benchmark. You know, the WNBA, it's on the curve just like every other sport. The top guys set the mark, and then everybody else has to catch up and stay in pace. 18-16 was their record, and they made the playoffs. So, I mean, at this point to get to that, I mean, was it 3 wins? They'd have to go like 15-5. So I don't know. That's a tall order. I know Rachel Banham, Minnesota Gopher from here, Lakeville, and she's home playing. Like, it's just not the same. It's not the same with Lindsay Whalen and some of the girls at Sylvia Fowles and, back with Simone Augustus and all those girls. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. So, and I say all good things must come to an end, but the Patriots the Patriots aren't the Patriots anymore without Tom Brady. It's sometimes you got to rebuild and start over. So I don't see them making the playoffs.
Is there like a bat signal on top of Target Center with the silhouette of Maya Moore that they can send into the sky and call upon her to come and save the season? Because that's the only thing that's saving this team at this point, I think. It's going to be a tall order.
I don't even know if she can. Like, that's a lot, especially the fact that she hasn't played. Like, she's been in love and just hanging out and doing social justice. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I say she couldn't be working behind the scenes, but it's a different monster when you're just off the court. I mean, look at Michael Jordan when he came back with 45. He wasn't good. And he's Jordan. Like, yes, he was old. No, he wasn't old. No, because he ended up winning like 3 more championships. But, when he first came back, he wasn't good right away. It took him some time. But, it is what it is. But that'll do it for the Ron Johnson Show. I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. I want to thank you guys for continuing to follow us, download, subscribe, listen, wherever you get your podcast. But, of course, you can subscribe to Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube, but you can also subscribe wherever you get your podcast and take us wherever you go.